Hey everyone, it's Calxiyn here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to join our Discord server, become patrons over on Patreon, or comment down below with your thoughts on our video. So today we're going to be talking about something really interesting that I found in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep that I personally hadn't seen anybody connect the dots between, so I thought that I would share it with all of you guys. So I was replaying Birth by Sleep with Hunter. Our stream is on the YouTube channel, by the way, if you guys missed it. And during a line that was said in the Vanitas playthrough, you can see in the stream I sort of have this eureka moment. This is how it sort of started. So it would be much easier to just kind of show you guys what I mean back to back rather than read line for line. So let's take a look.
Ah, yes. So you're starting to realize what you lost. Oh, but not for good. You had to lose in order to find. Now it can all be yours again, if you only reach out and take it.
The moment you set foot in this castle, you forgot every spell and every ability you ever knew. In this place, to find is to lose, and to lose is to find. That is the way in Castle Oblivion.
You had to lose in order to find.
In this place, to find is to lose, and to lose is to find.
So the reason why this interests me, for first, is the obvious one. Marluxia is coming back in KH3, and he may be Norted, so I think it would be really interesting if Marluxia was partly a Xehanort all this time, and sort of, the betrayal of the organization was entirely fake. It could have just been a ploy, and to some extent we know that it kind of was. Not the betrayal itself, but remember that the reason why Saïx sent Axel to Castle Oblivion was not only to make sure everybody at Castle Oblivion died, but Saïx expected Axel to die as well. So it could have been possible that, this fake coup, so to speak, could have been created, and Saïx and Xemnas were also in on it to get rid of some of the members, only to further their plans to make the quote-unquote True 13, right? And since Calxiyn was in on this plan as well, it would be really interesting if she is also maybe a member of this True 13. And yesterday, the voice actor for Calxiyn said she was doing voice work for her. So this really only furthers that idea that maybe Marluxia, Xemnas, and, Calxiyn were kind of all in on it together, and there was no real quote-unquote betrayal or trying to overthrow Xemnas, because they were all just doing that to kind of, kill each other, so to speak, right? Or get rid of the people that were getting a little too nosy, right? And so, I think that this line sort of shows that Marluxia and Xehanort may have been connected in some way we may have overlooked, and they were hinting at Marluxia and Xehanort being connected with this line all the way back in Birth by Sleep. And then since it would be assumed, that because Marluxia is saying this, Xehanort obviously came first, and so it's sort of implied, I guess, to me, that Xehanort would have told Marluxia this, or Marluxia would have this line in his consciousness because of Xehanort, and then sort of applied it to Castle Oblivion, so to speak. The second thing that makes this more interesting to me is that this line is obviously set to Ventus. Sora is obviously a part of Ventus, or rather, part of Ventus is inside Sora, so Marluxia saying this has some, I guess, dramatic irony to it as well. It's not something that would have been understood when Recom first came out, but after watching Birth by Sleep, I guess you could sort of connect it to each other then, and it would be like, oh, I see what you did there, you know what I mean? And Xehanort saying this to Ventus, that he needs to lose in order to find, and now Marluxia saying that exact same thing to Sora in a fashion. It's almost like if history is repeating itself. And I feel like at this point, it's even further driven by the fact that Ventus is sleeping in Castle Oblivion at this time, because a few of the organization members had been sent to find Ventus's sleeping body. So these two lines could be a reference to also, sort of Ventus himself, that Ventus is sleeping within the castle, and so Sora must lose in order to find, just like Ventus did, sort of thing. And then also when they go to find Ventus in Kingdom Hearts 3, that is also going to be something that they sort of have to go through, that they have to give up something in order to get Ventus back, maybe. So it seems like, remember, though, in Recom that the only reason why Sora is losing his memories, though, is because of Menominee and not because of the castle itself. So if anything, it would be more of, dramatic flair on Marluxia's part, since he sort of does have that way about him. But I think that in terms of finding Ventus, right, it may be a case where you have to, go through some sort of trial or give give up maybe Ericus's Keyblade to kind of release him, right? And so it could be, you know, a clue maybe on how to actually get Ventus back, to say give up the Master Ericus's Keyblade and in exchange get Ventus. Now this is only added on by the fact that obviously, if you guys don't know, this is spoilers for KHXU, if you guys care. But basically, we know that for the new sort of system, I guess, of foretellers, right? You got Ephemere, you got Scald, you got Brain, or whatever they're calling him. In the Japanese, it's Blaine, but apparently it's Brain in the English, right? And he kind of looks like Enzio, but he's not. I don't think I said that right, but that's okay. And then you got Marluxia's somebody, and then you have Ventus, right? And so to kind of even further this connection, you could make the argument that, you know, Marluxia has sort of been a Xehanort all this time, all the way back then, into this, like, you know, the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross nonsense, and so that's another reason why they are connected sort of through this line, because Marluxia is a part of Ventus's forgotten memories, right? Because Ventus obviously doesn't seem to remember this time that he was in, you know, with the foretellers with Ephemere and, like, the Keyblade War stuff and all that nonsense, right? Ventus obviously doesn't seem to remember that, and so if Marluxia, like, knew all this time because he was sort of in cahoots with Xehanort, and because, they've been kind of planning this all the way from the beginning with their time travel bullshit and all that sort of stuff, right? Like, it could be that that's another reason why he says it to Sora, because he knows that Ventus is in Castle Oblivion, and so he can almost be talking to Ventus, like, hey, for you to remember, like, this very important part of the past, you have to lose something, you know what I mean? And so it's not just a reference to Ventus losing, I guess, a part of himself, like losing Vanitas, because that's really what Xehanort is talking about in the scene that I played earlier. It's talking about, like, his connection to Vanitas and stuff like that, and, like, creating the X-Blade, right? Obviously, Marluxia is saying that, because they're trying to coax him into remembering Naminé, even though Naminé was never in his memories to begin with, right? And so, when you kind of look at it like that, it may even be, I don't want to say a little more meta, that's not exactly the word that I'm looking for, but it may be even deeper than that maybe, like, Naminé and Vanitas were sort of two, like, shallow things to pull from, so to speak, but this line could also be applied, and I know that, like, that's wild if Nomura planned this far, like, it's just wild, right? But, if that is the case, it could be that Marluxia, when he kind of was saying that, was like, yeah, Ven, like, remember our time together, you know what I mean? Like, that sounds a little weird, but you guys know what I mean, and so when Xehanort was saying that, it kind of had that double meaning, as well, when Xehanort was saying that to Ventus, because Xehanort, if he's been planning this the entire time, he would obviously know that Ventus was involved with the foretellers in the Union Cross nonsense, and so I really feel like that this is sort of what is going to be happening in KH3. That Marluxia is there to sort of jog Sora's memory in terms of the foretellers and everything like that, because a part of Ventus is inside him, so a part of Ventus should react, right? And we see a part of Ventus reacting, which I think is super interesting, is in the trailer with Vanitas, Sora says Vanitas, but then he kind of is like, wait, who? Like, you know, he doesn't realize that he said that sort of thing, and we've seen that in the Kingdom Hearts series before, because if you guys remember, Roxas says, get real, look which one of us is winning, right? And that's a Sora quote, so to say. He says that to Riku fighting, and then Roxas is like, where did that come from, right? And we all know that that's sort of his memory of Sora, like, responding, so to speak. So, with Sora recognizing Vanitas, it's sort of the same thing. It's Ventus recognizing it and sort of pushing the words through Sora's mouth, so it would be really interesting if we kind of get that with the scene of Marluxia, because Sora, Donald, and Goofy don't remember their time at Castle Oblivion, but Marluxia also remembers them. But that could be like a double meaning when he kind of, because he kind of points out, like, oh, we've met before, and he's like, excuse me, like, who are you, right? And so it could actually be sort of a double meaning. Not just that they met in Castle Oblivion, but that Marluxia knows that Ventus is a part of him. And so they're also like, hey, we didn't just meet in Castle Oblivion. We didn't even just meet in Birth by Sleep. Like, we met like 10,000 years ago in the Keyblade War. You know what I mean? And that would just be so crazy. And I think that that is sort of the direction that they're going for, and I think that that's super interesting. I don't know if that's just me, but I think that this kind of, it's starting to connect together, and this is the line that really connected it for me. So again, I'm sorry if this has already been pointed out or I've been talked about, but I found it and I got really excited, and maybe I got too excited. Like, I didn't want to look into it and see if other people had sort of said it, because I always like, I guess, for my videos, I like them to be uninfluenced by other people's videos, so I try not to watch other people's KH theories and stuff like that. So I don't know if anybody else has ever pointed this out before. I'm sure people have connected the dots between other things that aren't necessarily directly this line, but yeah, I'm not really sure if people have looked at this line or not before. But that is basically all from me. That's all I wanted to say, and I wanted to kind of clarify that at the end. I don't, like, for any videos that I do on my channel, I don't watch other people's videos, so I don't watch Ruby videos, or Kingdom Hearts videos, or Miraculous Ladybug videos. Like, I love and respect all the KH YouTubers that make them, but I like to keep my content, like, secluded, you know, so I'm not, like, accidentally ripping people off or something. But anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. It was kind of interesting to note, and I really sort of enjoyed it, and so I hope to see you guys later. Bye, guys!